Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant, coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. You're watching 284 Media. Thank you so much for your time. Just for the record, our follow-up, the first 100 days of office of the 13 elected members. All have been invited. If you happen to not see a member, that is because he or she did not accept the invitation or was unable to come. Today, we are honored to be joined by the 1st District Representative, Dr. the Honorable Karl Dawson, who is also the Junior Minister for Agriculture and Fisheries. Dr. Dawson, welcome back to our studios and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ron. Good to be back again.
The pleasure is mine. The last time you sat in this seat, you were campaigning and asking the people of the 1st District to give you a chance, for which they did, and that is why you are here. Recap for me, in a nutshell, your first 100 days in office.
Well, the first 100 days, I'd say, have been interesting. Some challenges, but overall, I would still say rewarding.
Okay.
My aim in seeking to be elected was to serve firstly the persons in the 1st District who elected me, and then try to contribute to the overall growth and development of the territory. We still have a very long way to go. But I feel that there have been some good early steps that suggest to me that we can make progress. I can make progress as an individual legislator and as a district representative, and certainly I can contribute to the growth of the territory overall.
Put that into perspective for me. What have been so far some of the little steps? Let's start with the 1st District.
So within the 1st District, the campaign trail offered me, an opportunity to get to know people better. So following up with that, after that, there would be times when I would, of course, be interacting with persons, understanding better their needs. Some of them I'm able to assist right away. Others, it's more challenging. Some of them might involve more resources than I have available to me. As far as the work in the 1st District and the work overall, I try to follow along based on the things I promised on the campaign trail, so that some of the issues that would have come immediately, issues related to water, issues related to the incinerator, and so on, even though they weren't necessarily that I could find the absolute solution, I still try to continue to press and try to make some progress on those issues. And I feel that there has been some progress, at least we can have a better idea of where the solution may lie.
Okay. All right.
Another thing that I guess perhaps caused the most excitement in the district was the starting of the Cultural Thursdays in Carrot Bay. That was the I would say only time-bound promise I made on the campaign trail.
Okay.
I said at that time, after 4 months, that we would, if the people were willing to work, we would have that initiative going.
What has the response been so far for that initiative?
The response has been tremendous, that the persons in the district, and particularly I'd say in Carrot Bay, the feedback I've gotten, they say Carrot Bay feels alive.
Okay.
You know, it feels alive, that there's opportunity for persons to sell their products, whether it's cooked goods, and whether the fishermen have been able to sell products at the Cultural Thursdays, farmers have been able to sell products. And the key thing that made it alive is the number of persons that's come from around the island into Carrot Bay, the excitement that it's created around the music, around the food. And the thing that to me people most appreciate is just the camaraderie. They say it's just a nice lime. You maybe meet somebody who you hadn't seen for a while and you're just hanging out there. So it's in that sense, it's done what I thought it could do. It brought culture alive, brought community alive, and it was truly is a community effort.
Okay, now when we look at the 1st District specifically, I'm sure you get a lot of calls. What are some of the top priority areas? What are persons calling you for?
Persons are calling for work.
Okay.
There are a number of persons who want jobs. So we have set up in the district, we just launched last week an exchange, if you will, where persons who are seeking work can register their names as seeking work and the type of work that they're seeking. And it can range from day work, like a single day's work, part-time work to full-time work. So that if you needed somebody to cut your yard and that person registered that's what I do, And when you now call to say, well, do you have anybody? We have some names that we can give you.
Okay.
To the point, a full-time person, that if I need a front desk worker at Long Bay, Long Bay can call in and say, that's where you need a front desk worker. People who are interested in that type of work can register themselves for that and create that exchange where hopefully it works. So
and if I understand this, workforce development committee or team specifically is for the first district, am I correct?
This particular initiative, is particularly for the first district. The work, though, may not necessarily only be in the first district. So if we have somebody if there are opportunities outside that we can connect persons with, sure, we will absolutely do so.
There was a district office already situated in the first district. Is that office still operational?
Yes, that is still operational, and that is the site where an initiative like this, for instance, is where persons would go to lodge or give their information. Certain things we do online, electronically, but you can actually go and lodge your paper copy. We have the forms for employers, forms for employees. Similarly, with the Caribbean Cultural Thursdays, again, if you want to be a vendor, you can go to the district office and fill the form, and there's a vendor fee. Understood. So even though it's the district office, we do have, in fact, for the Cultural Thursdays, a committee for that. So I'm a supporter of the committee, but as a president and so on that committee.
Understood. Mm-hmm. As it pertains to your district, for which you are responsible for, and I can't even limit it to the first district, but within your first 100 days, what exactly keeps you up at night? What is of grave concern to the Honorable Karl Dawson?
The Packwood Pond dump is, of course, is a grave concern because we've been up and down with it. Mm-hmm. When I got in, it was definitely, there were a number of smoky days. And then for maybe a better part of 1 or 2 months, things had calmed down. They had it managed a bit. And then again, most recently, we've been having a number of smoky days. It's still smoky days, but I think a meeting that we had with the community last Tuesday at least gave persons a sense of the department and the ministry is a bit clearer about what the solution is and where we are going. Some persons are not confident in that because they said we've heard it before, but certainly I feel that the commitment to renewable recycling and renewable, I think, is stronger. So it's a clearer path as to where we're going, and even the role of citizens in helping us to get there.
Now, you are, as I mentioned, the junior minister responsible for agriculture and fisheries. I want to put that into perspective, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, because my understanding of it is that while you are responsible as junior minister, it is pretty much on assignment when it comes to some duties and responsibilities, that of the premier. Am I correct?
Correct. So the ministry really rests in the premier's office. The premier has responsibility for agriculture and fisheries, but the Constitution allows for the assignment to a junior minister particular responsibilities within the Premier's office. So I have agriculture and fisheries, and very pleased to have had it because it's something that's near and dear to the heart of people across the territory, and also certainly near and dear to the people in my constituencies. A lot of some of the leading fishermen right there from the first district, whether from the Caribbean side, West End, Apple Bay side. We are full of fishermen, and we also have a lot of farmers. So it coincides well, that assignment, with the interests of a number of persons in my district.
So tell us about that. Tell us about any progress made with you regarding agriculture and fisheries.
As you know, Ron, when you're elected, first of all, you don't even know if you'll be a part of the government, and then when you're part of the government, you may be assigned any portfolio. So it's not a matter of saying that you were preparing for a portfolio. So I had no idea that it would be asked to cover agriculture and fisheries. You're
absolutely right. You could have been given a different ministry.
A different ministry. Yes. But having
or none at all.
Or none at all, exactly. But having said that, I'm pleased that I have been given that because I do have personal interest there. So the first few things I would have tried to do was try to get a feel for the lay of the land, what's happening in fisheries, what happens in agriculture. So I would have had a number of individual meetings, some smaller group meetings with individuals from both sectors, trying to understand what the key issues are and what they see as the opportunities. And even within the people in the ministry and department, try to understand what their aspirations are. Because even though I may have a lead as far as approving policy or even resources, you still have professionals in the department that you have to listen to and understand that the day one was not the day that I entered. There were many days before and there have been many days after. So try to find out where we are and how we're going. Just last week, we had 2 general meetings, one with fishers and one with farmers on Tortola, and we also have some immediately planned for Virgin Gorda, and we'll continue to Just Van Dyke and Igata. So we'll be given, aside from the one-on-one conversations, we'll be given a larger group opportunity for farmers and fishers to express themselves as to what they see is going right, wrong, what needs to be done, and we will share some information about things that may be happening in the agriculture and fisheries sector.
I have to ask you, when it comes to fisheries, we have not had a fishing depot since the hurricanes of 2017. Many persons have been rallying and calling for us to, whether it's a different location, whatever it is. Where are you in plans, or what plans would you have for the return of a fishing depot? Stay tuned for more Just for the Record right after this.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
Sonny.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man fit take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
When you're in need of air conditioning, installation, repairs, or replacement services, Markinson Air Conditioning and Refrigeration has the professional technicians, equipment, parts, and ACs to get the job done right. Markinson Air Conditioning and Refrigeration carries top brands like Daikin, Aircon, Mitsubishi, and more. We're open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Located in Fish Bay. Telephone 340-4114 or 343-9511. Markinson Air Conditioning and Refrigeration, providing exceptional services to the British Virgin Islands since 2015.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. When it comes to fisheries, we have not had a fishing depot since the hurricanes of 2017. Many persons have been rallying and calling for us to, whether it's a different location, whatever it is. Where are you in plans, or what plans would you have for the return of a fishing depot?
Okay, so even prior to my being elected, plans were being developed for a agricultural and fisheries processing plant to be located at Paraquita Bay.
Okay.
So it includes fish products, it includes farm products, crops, vegetables, also includes meat products. So the abattoir will be located to that location. So all our food production will be processed there. A lot we will be doing from there for wholesale purposes to local businesses, and some will be people may buy directly. But as far as, say, for instance, fishing is concerned, a concern a lot of people will say, well, the fishermen came in at Carrot Bay pulling their catch, and you telling me I have to go up to Paraquita Bay to get a hard nose? No.
It's an interesting concern. Yeah.
It is an interesting concern. So we will be looking at that, and the solution that we're looking at is that to have develop the various areas as landing sites. When I say landing site, it means that we may then have to upgrade the facilities that might enhance the ability to clean the catch, to also preserve the catch over the short term until they're transported, and also for the sale of the catch on site. So it will allow persons in the local area to be able to get some of the catch, but hopefully there'll be enough sufficient to also be transported to the processing site for wholesale purposes or even retail purposes at particular points.
Okay. On the matter of agriculture and fisheries, you, alongside the Deputy Premier, the Honorable Lorna Smith, OBE, went on a trade mission to Guyana. I have to get your take on that. Of course, you made presentations, but on the front of agriculture, how would you encompass that in entire trade mission?
I consider it to be useful. I consider it useful on more than one front. On the one hand, the opportunities for training and development and exchange between our farmers and the practitioners in Guyana, I think holds promise for us to improve. We have not actually set up yet, but we will be arranging training sessions that may be done online. It may involve individuals coming from Guyana to the BVI to train in particular areas. There are, for instance, even some approaches to agriculture that they have that we may find useful to see if we may get their technical support in implementing here in the territory.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We also would have interacted with some private sector persons who may wish to also partner with us on particular initiatives. I've mentioned in other settings the possibility of shrimp farming in the territory as a possible means for furthering aquaculture.
I have to ask you, and this is a simple question, but I think an important one. When we speak about the partnership between Guyana and the BVI in regards to agriculture particularly, how realistic would you say would the efforts and the partnership actually be? Are these ideas ones that you firmly believe could be accomplished?
Oh, yes. I mean, clearly, Ron. And in my farmers' meeting, that same question was posed to me. And if you're going to be involved in anything, whether your business in the media, whatever, you're always seeking to improve. And there are a number of ways you can improve. You can improve by reflecting on your own practice. You just reflect on what you've been doing. But you can also improve by seeing what others are doing who may be, one, just simply doing something differently, or who may be a further step along the way in their development trajectory than you are. So this is an opportunity for us to see what others are doing. And based on it was myself and the Director of Agriculture, Mr. Theodore James, who were in Guyana. And we felt, there are some things that they're doing that might be useful to introduce to our farmers, and even simple basics as far as agriculture processes are concerned, and what would be normally a part of extension work, as they would call it, that there's opportunities to learn. And I see it as no negative in that, because even when you're exposed to something else, you can still determine whether or not you're going to implement it whole scale, or are you going to make it adapt it a bit to fit your setting.
Understood. It's just 100 days, but you have at least another 3.5 years to go. What do you want the next 3.5 years of your leadership on the First District and Junior Minister front to look like?
I guess I'm still at where I was at the beginning. For the First District, it's still about building community, that is to say, learning and growing together, working on projects together that's going to improve the district, such as the Cultural Thursdays. It's also about, as we see ourselves as a tourism type district, so it's about enhancing the entire tourist experience for persons coming in, and I'm sure we will make some progress there. Some of the big things are still there. We've had several meetings, including a public meeting related to the West End Ferry Terminal. That's a project that I feel happy that I've been able to be involved with, or useful, because the emphasis that I brought to the conversation was, now, what's going to happen during the project period? You know, how are we going to handle traffic? And there were thoughts there about, well, we'll just divert them to Road Town. We'll just divert them to some other location. And I didn't consider it to be a satisfactory answer. I thought we needed to have we needed the traffic. We needed to have things happening in that district. There are persons whose livelihood depends on it, that if it goes someplace else, they would be negatively impacted. So the solution that it seems that they will be going with involves still having some level of ferry traffic in that area. And I'm very pleased about that. I feel that if I or someone like me was not at the table, you could have had a totally different solution, that by the time every I was dotted and T crossed, Western would have been cut out for the next 2 or 3 years while that project is taking place. So I think my colleagues, Honorable Kai Reimer and colleague Honorable Vincent Wheatley, both of them have embraced my involvement in matters in their ministry related to the First District. So again, with Mr. Reimer, it related to the ferry terminal, related to solving issues related to water, with Mr. Wheatley related to the incinerator and waste in general. So I think I've been fortunate to have that sort of collegial support on the issues that are of importance to my district. So it's a good feeling so far on. There are days when it'll feel a little bit more challenging. You know, people expect certain things of you, and the way the system have changed, you cannot deliver on certain things that people may have gotten in the past. But then there are other times when you feel, I get a lot of encouraging words. Okay. You know, I get a lot of people in the district saying, you know, Dawson, I think you're on a good foot. You made a good start. I hope you could keep it up. We're watching you. You know, hope you can keep it up. And then
I'm glad that you mentioned that honesty, though. In your first 100 days, has there been any moment where you were like, what did I do? Have you ever, in most recent times, reconsidered or wondered whether or not you should have actually sought higher office and higher responsibility?
I would say not seriously. Okay. I would say that sometimes
you've had
people meet you and maybe they make a request of you, and when they finish, I said, "Boy, what I get myself into," you know. But when I take the whole picture and the opportunity to make an impact, I would always still seize it. Just recently, the Waste Management Department had a summer beautification program where they invited 10 students from every district. And as a matter of fact, they had the recognition ceremony today. Mm-hmm. And those 10 young people in the First District work hard. We told them the starting time was 10 o'clock, and it was a rainy week. And they worked through whatever they faced, and they continued to work. If they had to take some shade during the rain, then they extended the time after. Yeah. Mr. Pete Smith was the supervisor, and he really kept them together, along with other persons like Daphne Stout, Washington, and so on. But it was a truly district effort. The young people, but then I could name 10 individuals or companies who made it happen. Mm-hmm. The folks from Great Patch, they actually put a lot of effort in there, and Romeo Cameron, Sebastian, so many persons came together to make it. That week made me feel to say, you know, this is what moving a district forward feels like.
I understand.
I will say that moving the community has been positive, and now it's a matter of saying, well, how do you move government resources? How do you better understand the system? How do you get your piece in there first, and so on, to make sure that you get the most out of what government has to offer and has allocated? Because sometimes you find that money actually sits around that's needed just because somebody didn't understand the system well enough.
I'm quite aware of that.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, because you are a new legislator. Yeah. You recently conducted CPA training, yourself and your colleagues. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because in our COI, we the public got the impression that a lot of our elected officials seemed to have been elected and just thrown into the fire with very little breakdown, elaboration on what is expected of them and how they should go about it. Within your first 100 days, and now having gone through that CPA training, can you confidently say that you feel as though you are prepared and you are aware of exactly what is required of the Honorable Karl Dawson?
No, I'd say I'm getting there.
Okay.
There has been training put on by our own House of Assembly office, led by the Speaker and the Clerk, informal meetings and actual training sessions. And then, of course, the CPA training that you mentioned, which was very, very enriching, very interesting, seminar, very much so. And so clearly, I would say I'm getting there. I mean, one of the things I spoke about, we haven't done it yet, but Honorable Stacey Mather, he and I, we were talking about the same thing. I said, but let's get together and let's write up our listing of the things we thought should have been done.
Okay.
So that could be the guide for and orientation for new members in the future, just to make it easier for them to feel to get their feet wet and get on board and running more quickly. The clerk, the speaker, all of that has been helpful, but I think our own input might help to improve the system.
You mentioned the Honorable Stacey Mather, who is sitting on the opposition. In many instances, elected leaders sometimes like to look at persons who are on the other side of them as the enemy. I personally don't believe that. I believe that in the final analysis, whether you're in the opposition or government, you should holistically be working towards one agenda, which is the betterment of the country. But what has your relationship and interaction been with not only the opposition members, but the members who are sitting on the government, with your colleagues? What has that experience been like so far?
Positive. I mean, from both my side, and having an opportunity to sit with them in caucus every week and discuss issues related to the growth and development of the country, and then opportunities I've had to work with the opposition. They will tire of me hearing this, and I didn't invent the phrase, but I always say we're all on Team BVI.
Okay.
We're all on Team BVI, and we can't lose sight of that. And wherever we can collaborate, we will. I think that there are going to be occasions when obviously we will have differing views, and the reality of it, we're sitting in government where they would wish to be at some point, so they'll want to point out any flaws in our approaches. But aside from that, I would say that the interactions that I've had so far, I'm encouraged by it, and I'm encouraged that look, if someone on the quote unquote other side has an input to make that will make things better for all of us, I think they will.
Okay.
I think they will. And I certainly have made no secret of the extension of my hand to work with whomever in the House.
All right. In closing, I'd like to allow you to speak to the residents of the First District and by extension the British Virgin Islands. What do you as a representative, what would you like them to be mindful of? And perhaps how can they help you in the execution of your role?
Well, to the people of the First District, I would like to ensure that you're aware that I'm open. I'm open to conversations. I'm open to communication with you. I think it's going to be a learning time, because in the post-COI world, a number of processes have changed. A lot of access to resources have changed. So we're going to have to learn how to negotiate this during these coming days. The government still has a responsibility to meet needs, so that we now have to figure out, well, if it is that we cannot do something in this way, what systems can we put in place to still get it done? Because if there is still a need in the territory, if there's still a need in the district, we have to figure out how to get it done. But for the growth and development of the territory and of individuals, we're also going to have to always encourage people to improve themselves. Always encourage people to say that even though if you may get some sort of government assistance, the system should not be that you rely on that. You should be saying, well, how can we build an economy? How can we build a society that allows you to earn enough to satisfy yourselves and your family and your development goals? So that is what we have to do. and we're going to work along together to do it.
Dr. Karl Dawson, I want to thank you so much for your time and, of course, by extension, your service to the people of this territory. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ron. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. Viewers, that is all the time we have. We've been joined by Dr. the Honorable Karl Dawson, the 1st District Representative, who is also the Junior Minister for Agriculture and Fisheries, with the Just for the Record first 100 days in office. I'm Ron Grant. You've been watching 284 Media.